In the Pleroma there is nothing and everything. It is quite fruitless to think about the Pleroma, for this would mean self-dissolution. We are, however, the Pleroma itself, for we are a
I think I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And I think when I forget that, I tend to feel a vacancy.
I'm an agnostic atheist because I don't know if he exists or not, but I choose not to believe based on lack of evidence.
There's been points in life where I felt such like deep connections to an understanding of like why people were in existence, but then there are times like now where I'm not so connected and I don't entirely like feel it or see it, but then sometimes I do, and it's like the thing I always come back to is like lessons. It's always like some weird like science experiment.
Well, what have I always wanted in my life? I've always just wanted balance. I don't want to be better. I don't want to be worse than. I just want to be treated fairly with fair judgment. I don't care if I get judgment on me, just as long as it's fair.
Who am I?
And it was in that moment that I realized that the universe is always looking for some form of homeostasis. It's always looking for some form of balance. So that's what I believe in.
It's the intrinsic belief that you need to hack your brain and make yourself understand that this life matters. This shit matters. Why are we here? To appreciate that we're here.
I think some people, like I said, not to knock anybody, are just kind of controlled by that idea of you have no control over it. It's already been written, it's already done. You're just here until you get called, home and so on and so forth. And whatever happens from point A to point B, it was out of your control anyway. And I think that's why a lot of people don't know why they're here.
The first thing that the mushrooms taught me was it's all metaphor. And the more I do with science, the more it fails because you've reached the point where you can only express what's happening in metaphor. Because metaphor isn't absolute, but it does have an energy and is a construct. Everything ends up being distilled down into geometric patterns and shapes because the reality we're experiencing is essentially a hologram.
The more that I try and learn about who I am or what I'm doing here, or what my purpose is that the more I try and figure that out, the less clear it is. There's
hologram.
I guess it would be arrogant of me to assume that I know exactly why I'm here or what I am. I just know that while I'm here, I should probably try and at least be a decent person or do some sort of good or at least have a decent time.
when you observe the world, you see people, you see houses, you see the sky, you see tangible objects. But when you observe yourself within, you see moving images, a world of images, generally known as fantasies. Yet these fantasies are facts. You see, it is a fact that a man has such and such a fantasy. And it is such a tangible fact, for instance, that when a man has a certain fantasy, another man may lose his life. Or a bridge is built. These houses were all fantasies. Everything you do here, all of the houses, everything was fantasy to begin with. And fantasy has a proper reality. That is not to be forgotten. Fantasy is not nothing. It is, of course, not a tangible object, but it is a fact nevertheless. It is, say, a form of energy, despite the fact we can't measure it. It is a manifestation of something. And that is a reality. That is just a reality as, for instance, the peace treaty of Versailles or something like that. It is no more. You can't show it. But it has been a fact. And so the psychical events are facts, are realities. And when you observe the stream of images within, you observe an aspect of the world within.
You learn these words and you associate objects with sounds. I'm 33. Oh God. We have memories that go back to a point where they fade away at a certain time and only significant things you remember. But past that, you don't consciously remember them, but have they imprinted on you to form what you have been?
Yes.
And what is that?
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them.
And in what way are you different?
I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do. And this influences my thinking and consequently my actions.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
So why are we here? To change the world? One dude at a time. Into what? Better person?
Hologram.
I definitely think I have purpose. 100%. I have to wake up and tell myself that every morning. And if I don't, I swim through a big pile of bullshit in my head all day long. I need to tell myself that every day. What are you up to?
Like, I don't think that life was meant to just show up to work and then pay bills.
As far as like what I want on a personal level is just to be successful, happy, for my family and friends to be successful and happy in whichever paths of life they choose to walk. And overall, I just want that for everybody, man. Just everybody to be fucking happy and successful in whatever it is they want to do.
It's like, how do you get out of this like rut because like you don't have money, but you feel like you're so creative and you can do all these things, but you're stuck at work and there's no creativity there. And if you're even pushing for it, you know, it's just like, stop doing that, you know, where's your uniform? Put your name tag on.
The world in our heads, your head as well, is not the objective reality out there. What you're doing is you're taking it in from the outside through your 5 senses, and you have those natural genetic equipment. But then the world gets at you, and your mother and your father and your school and your college and all the rest of the corporation all make demands on your personality. So that the world that you perceive is a very personal world. It's been conditioned positively and negatively.
Everyone has value and purpose. We just, again, our society won't acknowledge it because it's like, if you can't make money and I can't sell it, then fuck you. Like, you look back at when you had real communities and somebody being just a real good person had merit. You know, like, you see some people that are just really positive and encouraging and engaging. Maybe they're not really smart. Maybe they're not really good at doing anything, but they're just really great. There's value in that. That's necessity. And maybe that's all that person has to do here. You know, is just to be awesome. But it's hard to maintain, you know, with our society where everyone's caught up into an individual. We don't work synergistically, and you can see that philosophy and how we don't work synergistically with nature, and we cut everything up and we cut everything into rations and into different parts, and, you know, wonder why it doesn't work anymore. But I don't know. I often try to wonder what we were before we were invaded. Before this artificial pathogenic predatory intelligence came down, before we opened up, I believe that's involved with the opening up contact with demons.
People generally, what's funny about people, like, they seem like they are all so different and they have different, like, opinions about different things, but I think a lot of us want the same things, you know, and that's the part that I like. I'm looking for that thread throughout, like, the people that I think I'm different from. I look for, like, the similarities. I believe that we're a lot more similar than we first can see, you know, just first impressions.
These experiences, inner experiences that a person had, that I wasn't sure other people ever even had those experiences. And so, lo and behold, come to find out, the most intensely personal and subjective can sometimes be also the most universally human experience.
Yes.
So, it's on the inside.
So we've been studying each other for a long time, abstracting out what is it that we're up to, and that's what is it we're up to? What should we be up to? That's even a more fundamental question. If you're going to live in the world and you're going to do it properly, what does properly mean, and how is it that you might go about that? Well, it's the right question, right? It's what everyone wants to know. How do you live in the world? Not what is the world made of. It's not the same question. How do you live in the world? It's the eternal question of human beings. And I guess we're the only species that has ever really asked that question, because all the other animals, they just go and do whatever they do. Not us. It's a question for us. We have to become aware of it. We have to be able to speak it. God only knows why. But that seems to be the situation. So, we act. That acting is shaped by the world. That acting is shaped by society into something that we don't understand, but that we can model. We model it in our stories. We model it with our bodies. And that's where the dream gets its information. The dream is part of the process that's watching everything and then trying to formulate it and trying to say, well, trying to get the signal out from the noise and to portray it in dramatic form, because a dream is a little drama. And then you get the chance to talk about what that dream is.
It's only a dream if you remain mainstream. It's only a dream if you remain mainstream.
And it's really sad is that, you know, I'm 26 and I just saw the ocean for the first time. And I loved it. I felt like a different person coming out of it.
One of my major hurdles in life has been being wrong. I absolutely fucking hate being wrong.
And then I'm starting to realize I don't even know where I fall in, like, any of the lines either. Like, I'm finding I'm in, like, a shade of gray for the most part.
That's the one thing I wish I could really do, is just make that decision. do it.
Still don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know why I am.
A lot of the people that seem to, I guess, in my mind, seem to be the happiest are probably the ones that aren't looking for it all the time. They're living like what we say in the moment, right? They're living for right now and taking in everything that's around them right now.
Oh, I think all people have it, really. I mean, you look at someone who's filthy rich and has all those things. I would argue that they probably have that nagging need to do something else. Whether they want to deny it and be angry and miserable, or they want to accept it and do something.
I can look in the mirror and not think, well, I'm a piece of shit. That's kind of cool. You know, I might joke about it. I mean, I'm certainly not perfect by any means, but like I'm not, you know, in comparison to, you know, the person I've been previously. I don't think I'm as much of a piece of shit. But so that, I mean, that's one part of it. But just being comfortable in my existence, I guess. I don't know what that really entails or what it takes to get there.
The only way to get people to really wake up is you need something that hits everybody, and it's got to hit them in the heart. And it's the heart has to be healed, otherwise nothing else can happen. That's where we're at. That's why they break everybody's heart.
Like, fuck your money, fuck your what you're up to. If you're constantly chasing gratification, that's a shallow life to live. I would never want to be that person. To me, it's the intrinsic inside value. Are you happy with yourself, or are you running from it?
If I don't make mistakes, or if I don't have any consequences for my mistakes, how the fuck am I supposed to learn? I'm not looking to be blessed. Because if I'm blessed, how am I going to learn?
I really feel like I'm here for an artistic purpose, and through my arts or my creativity, to teach, to inform, whatever it may be, whatever the message may be I'm trying to get across. But if I feel, as long as I know I'm doing right, and I feel like I'm doing right just because it's right to do right, the person that I'm talking to or sitting across from, they're receiving what I feel is right, the right message, the right energy, and maybe that'll help them grow into why they're supposed to be here. Maybe they'll take something away from that, you know what I mean? And, you know, if that makes any sense, they can take that and hopefully that helps them on their journey.
We live on an enchanting earth with such beautiful people, each with their own stories, their own struggles, and their own fears. Love should never be hidden, especially if the reason is from fear.
It always just kind of feels like a playing field, and that I'm always like being tested, and it's like, you know, this doesn't entirely feel real, and my choices determine where I go next.
Break away and, you know, not ever get back into the system.
I was just having so much fun and so happy, just in the moment, taking everything in, seeing all the people that were there, engaging in conversations, and just feeling like this is what life's all about. I remember that's how I felt that night.
So, like, when you're freshborn, newborn, who are you? Confused. I just came through a hole and there's a bunch of motherfuckers looking at me and somebody just slapped me. I'm confused.